So, hi teacher, this is Daniel, and today I'm going to talk to you about the big data in the education. So let's begin. The use of big data in education has already begun to provide great benefits in terms of education, developing new methods for teaching and learning. So if you're a teacher or if you're a student, this is for you. Also creating new careers and career options for the students, as well as in the exploitation and use of digital collection generated by educational institutions. But what is really the big data? The big data is a technology that allows us to collect, store, and prepare large volumes of data to analyze or visualize the relationships between them. So, for example, the most common example of this of the big data is when you look something in Google and then you go to Facebook, then you have an ad. So it's basically the big data most common in our lives, but we don't see it because we don't know it's there. But that's the big data. So if you want to know more about this topic, you can look in Netflix a documentary called The Social Media Dilemma. So it's pretty interesting how people start to control users through the big data. Well, that was just an example of what is really the big data. But in education, we can take a really bit we can take advantage of the big data. There is some educational methods derived from the big data. We have the adaptive learning, the competency-based education, the flipped classroom and blended learning, and the gamification. We usually or often see the competency-based education in the university, so we can implement big data in our institution in the university. The first one is adaptive learning. It is an educational method based on the modification, the contents and forms of teaching according to particular needs of each student. For this, the knowledge data lake, which will facilitate analytics to create a tailored curriculum, will be formed by collecting information on the learning habits. So for example, if I have some habit to learn, the platform, the big data will tell me or will allow me to keep going in this way, and I'm going to be more self-learning. I'm going to be getting a better knowledge. The best example of this is the platform known as Newton, whose technology is able to identify the strengths and weakness of each student, and based on this, offer the most appropriate materials. So this is the first one, the adaptive learning. It helps to every single user. Next, we have the competence-based education. As this producer is not a new trend, the current educational platforms based on competencies derived from the power of big data analytics under the metric of learning are. In fact, this enhances the independence of students at the same time allow teachers to assess progress. The best example of this is mastery. As I told you before, in the university we have the competence-based education, so we can put it on like with big data and use mastering, for example, and I think that's going to prove through knowledge of the students, the learning, teaching also in the university. Well, continue with this, we have the flipped classroom. The flipped classroom is based on home study and classroom practice, just as we are now, right? So in this sense, new information technologies allows the teacher to teach their content online, reserving the class time for more practical training. A typical platform that uses these education methods is Moodle. We all know what a Moodle is. We used it the last quarter. But Moodle is used in the main universities in the world and allows students to acquire knowledge from distance, which they will then share with the professor and the classmates to every classroom. If I'm being honest, I don't like Moodle. It's just kind of ugly. I don't think it's user friendly, you know. But I think another example of this is Classroom from Google. I think that's an amazing tool with this. Also, we have gamification. The gamification can be defined as the use of game mechanics in learning environments in order to enhance the motivation, concentration, and effort of the students. It is also a powerful strategy for influence and encourage groups of students. It has an intention, it's to simulate the teaching and learning process among the members of the student community. from being honest, when I was a kid, I was playing video games a lot of time, and I was just, all the video games were in English because we don't have it in Spanish. So when I was a kid, I was like, oh, what does it mean? And I was like, well, look for it in a dictionary. So this is one of the ways of learning English. The gamification is a pretty good way to learn English or just any other topic, because when the user or the person, the student, wants to learn something about the game, they can just put it on like that. And you want to look for it more because it's the game and you need to pace the game. This is the motivation that the gamification gives to the user, to the student. Pretty well known platform for this is the ClassDojo. So this was all from the Big Data in Education about my report. But in conclusion, one of the main limitations of the adoption of big data technology in any institution is the economic, infrastructure, and experienced human capital resources. Why is that? Because, for example, the last quarter, when all of us want to use Moodle just fall literally because there were a lot of students, there were a lot of teachers wants to put in more content. We all the students want to upload our files, so they just fall. And so, in order to improve the teaching in the university, they bought a new server. So that's something economic, something would have to be with infrastructure. However, today relatively inexpensive alternatives are beginning to appear to be able to perform analytics with big data. The most example of it is Classroom. We don't use Classroom with our server, right? We use Google servers. So this is another solution for that, but we just depends on the institution that wants to use and how to use the big data. So I think that's all for me. Have a great day.